Hi, everyone, and welcome back to my video show, Teaching Spanish to Kids Made Easy. I'm Teresa Gunderson. As you may know, my work now is helping preschools and elementary schools bring Spanish to life through our on-site Spanish classes and our new online Spanish curriculum. But I've also walked in the shoes of school leaders as a former pre-K-8 school principal and interim executive director of a charter school. One challenge that never goes away, no matter what your role in school leadership, is hiring, training, and keeping excellent teachers. That is why I'm so excited about today's conversation with Evan Basnet from Suraasa. Now, Suraasa is a company that prepares international teachers to work right here in schools in the United States. So, if you're a school district or leader who has ever wondered what it takes to successfully employ a teacher from another country, well, this interview is for you. Let's dive in. Well, I'm so excited to introduce to you my guest today. His name is Evan, and he works with an international company called Suraasa. And we met on LinkedIn, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. And it's just a great place to meet other professionals in your niche, in your area. And so, Evan, I'm so excited that you could join me today on my video show. And let's learn about you. Can you tell us a bit about you personally? Where are you from? And what company are you working for called Suraasa? And basically, what is Suraasa's mission?
All right. So thank you, Ms. Teresa, for having me, first of all. All right. So let me just introduce myself. I am basically from India, and I'm from the foothills of Himalayas. If you know about the place called Darjeeling, that is a city which was started during the colonial time. That's like a hill station started by the Britishers, and it's very famous for three T's. That is tea, tourism, and teaching. Now, tea, you get the world's most famous tea there, Emerald Pearl. If you've heard, that's the most expensive tea in the world. And yes, and the second one is it's famous for tourism because it's beautiful, nestled in the foothills of the Himalayas. Not only that, but you have a infamous toy train there. So anytime if you would wish to come, you can visit Darjeeling, and it's amazing. It's good for tourism. And the third that it's famous for is teaching. Now, teaching is the contribution of the Jesuits, actually. The Jesuits, they had moved in India with their mission back in the 1500s. But in the 1800s, the Belgian missionaries, the Belgian Jesuits, they had come to Darjeeling and they had started their mission. So, as part of their mission, they had started the St. Joseph North Point School, which was, a boarding school for the boys, and that is how the Jesuit missions it began, and amazing contribution that they had done, because of which Darjeeling is also known for teaching. That is world class school. So yeah, I come from Darjeeling. I was part of the Jesuit organization because growing up, I really grew up in piety as well, and I wanted to become like those Jesuits.
Oh, I love
and
that. Mhm.
I wanted to become Jesuit, and however, I did become a Jesuit. Actually, I joined the novitiate, and after that, I began my spiritual training for 2 years. That's an intense spiritual exercises training. Along with that, you also get to know a lot about the history of the church. But apart from that, it's a practical work that you do of service, and you go to a hospice, you serve there. You go to a mission station, you serve there, basically being in with the people. But after that, I went for my college studies in St. Xavier's College. That's one of the, again, most famous Jesuit college in India, St.
Mm.
Xavier's College, Ahmedabad in Gujarat. And after that, I went to uh, JDV, Jnanadeepa Vidyapit. That's a Pontifical University in Pune. And there I did my philosophical studies for 2 years.
Wow.
And after philosophical studies, I was into a dilemma that, whether I should continue to be a Jesuit, whether I should continue the path to be a Jesuit and, become a priest, or, it's definitely a calling, I believe, right? So,
Mhm.
however, I decided to discern it for 2 more years, and then I indulged myself into teaching for 2 years, where I was teaching in a Jesuit organization for 2 years.
Mhm.
And then after that, I decided that maybe that is not, not the path that I want to lead. Maybe for a long term, I don't.
Mhm.
I maybe it's priestly calling is not for me. Then I decided to again jump into education and continue with it professionally. I was an IELTS trainer. After that, I again got into academic counseling. After academic counseling, now I'm in the founder's office at Suraasa, which is a multinational organization. And the mission, as you asked, of Suraasa is basically to teach, to make teaching an aspirational profession. Not only an aspirational profession, but also a global profession where teachers, right, basically can have an ample amount of training where they are equipped with lot of the nitty-gritties that is required to teach in the class effectively, maybe with the adaptation to the AI, not only that, but a lot of the class dynamics, humanism,
Yeah.
a lot about philosophical concepts as well. So these are the training that enables a teacher to teach in the class effectively. All right. So that is the kind of training that we wanted, to provide to the teachers globally, and with that, schools are being served all over the world as well because we are we are providing teachers, right? Teachers and making their profile accessible to the schools,
Mhm.
whoever are interested, in basically opening up their doors for international teachers. Because see, diversity is something that that is really enriching, I suppose, right? I mean,
Mhm.
diversity is definitely enriching, and
Yeah.
so far in my life as well, I have seen a lot of like, I mean, people coming from different parts of the world, for
Mhm.
example Darjeeling as well, and the immense amount of enrichment that it had provided. And
Mhm.
of course, even from the east, when they go to the west, there's an immense amount of enrichment that it provides. So the interculturality, the adaptability, uh, right, provides an
Yeah.
appreciation for the other as well. Not only that, but also provides an enrichment to oneself as well. And that's very evident, right? That's very evident
Yeah.
even in our society as we see, right?
Yeah, thank you so much. It was so interesting to hear about where you were raised and a little bit of your life, your earlier life, and then you joining Sarasa. So if I because I'm based in the United States and I want to ask you some questions because if there is a school leader in the United States that may be interested in working with Sarasa, I want to ask some questions that might help them better understand how you could serve them. So, what ages do you work with the university level? Do you work with high school level teachers, elementary, middle school, preschool? What ages of teachers do you educate and prepare then to enter schools internationally?
Okay. So we basically train high school teachers,
High school.
K-12 teachers. We predominantly work with the K-12 teachers. Yes.
Okay, so you said high school, but K-12 would be kindergarten all the way through 12th grade?
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so are you more heavy in the high school, like grades 9 through 12?
Well, yes, it depends. It depends on the
Okay.
individual teacher as well, what their expertise and specialities and aspiration are, you know.
Okay. And something that just occurred to me is I used to be a teacher at a Spanish immersion elementary school. And today, Evan, there are so many of them, especially in the state that I live in, Minnesota. And one of my jobs actually was to recruit international teachers. It was a program back then called Amity. And I know today they look for native Spanish speakers, for example. And just like you said, that diversity, bringing in their own culture and language. Um, do you recruit teachers from all over the world? Like, could their first language be Spanish or French or Japanese? Like, where do your teachers come from? And then they're trained at through Sarasa.
Okay. So you see, the composition of our teachers are quite diverse. All right.
Hmm.
However, there are regions that are quite heavy. Like I mean, if I specify those regions from which most of the teachers have joined in are from India, from Saudi Arabia, right? And however, there are teachers from other parts of the world as well, like from US, Singapore, and Philippines. So yes, diversity is something that we have always, tried to focus on. However, yes, of course, as per where our organization is much more popular, and predominantly there we have that is the nationality that we have. That's the nationality composition that we have of teachers currently. But of course, we are tapping into the US market more and more, and we are trying to bring in and work with a lot of more teachers from the US itself. So
Right.
that's
Mhm. And let's say I were a high school principal here. I had shared with you that I used to be an elementary school principal, a Catholic school principal, as you shared, you were part of the Jesuits. So my background is also in being a Catholic school principal, as well as a charter school executive director. So I've worked in two different sectors as a school leader. And it's hard. I had positions open and I needed to fill them, and you don't always get the best resumes, or you do an interview and you're like, well, this is not the best fit. So if I were to work with a school with an organization like yours, Suraasa, would you provide me with resumes? Like, how would we start to work together? Would I tell you, okay, I have an opening for a ninth grade history teacher or a fifth grade math teacher, and you would send me resumes? Like, how would that work?
okay. So first of all, um, the outreach personnel would reach out to you. In that case, currently I'm the one who is partnering with a lot of schools in the US. So I'll be reaching out to the superintendent, and even the superintendents can do the same as well. Even like if, say, suppose you are a superintendent who is currently requiring that amount of teachers, and you have reached out to me, so I will make sure that I have a meeting booked with our founder, Mr. Rishabh Khanna himself, okay, so that he can introduce you to the organization in a much better way, because he's the first of all, responsible for creating this organization. So, hearing from the horse's mouth, right? Definitely, it's not only enriching, of course, but it also, allows you to have a relationship with Surasa in a much deeper level, right? And the found relation with the founder as well. So that is where we start the meeting with the founder, Mr. Rishabh Khanna. And after that, we sent you the profile of the teachers that are currently available with us. Like
Okay.
say, suppose we have one person from US, one from Singapore, one from Philippines, one from India. So it depends on the superintendent, right? Which profile do they choose? But we provide you with the best of the best, the ones who are qualified, the ones who are having a minimum 5 years of experience in teaching, right? And of course, PGCTL certification, that is the international valid certification that is required for a teacher to teach in the United States.
Mhm.
That is what, like, I mean, the teachers are equipped with earlier. And of course, they are trained by us as well. So that is the kind of profile that we provide you with, right? So the
Okay.
profile not only has a weightage of credibility, but it also has a surety of skill set that is required and standard that is required to teach in the US classroom. Yes, of course.
Yeah, I love that you focused on the standards required, because if I would work with you, I that would bring a peace of mind that you've already vetted these individuals and they've. Can you talk a little bit about what kind of training they receive through Sarasa? You mentioned like 5 years minimum of classroom experience, because we would be receiving from you candidates that are probably outstanding, and just talk a little bit about how they are prepared through Sarasa. Do they actually take courses through Sarasa to prepare them? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Okay. So basically, the credibility, the credentials that is required to join Surasa, first of all, for a teacher, is to have minimum 5 years of experience as a teacher.
Wow, okay.
Along with that, the educational qualification that is required is at least a master's degree in a subject. Now, say suppose you are someone who has done your graduation in English literature and you have a master's in English literature as well,
Mhm.
and you somehow would want to teach internationally and you want to join the course and get the credential of PGCTL for you to have a ticket, a one-way ticket to teach internationally. So yes, you can join the course provided that you have 5 years of experience.
Okay.
And once you have joined the course, then there are modules that are divided, right? So each of the module, it covers a lot of different aspects of teaching, right? And it's not only theory based, it's practical based as well, because there will be live lectures with the experts who are already having a decades worth of experience in the international teaching. If you have seen my interview with Mr. Peter G. Beck, so he is someone who has been into international teaching for many years now, and he's also in an academic head in International Teacher University, and our International Teacher University is based in the U.S. in Manhattan. So yes, that is how we assure that the standard is maintained, because first of all, what we teach is definitely important, but who teaches, that is also very important. So
Mhm.
we make sure that the kind of professors that we have been handpicked by us,
Mhm.
for specific reason, and that reason is to increase the standard of the teachers teaching methodology that they already are equipped with, of course. And yes, with the intervention of the AI, as you see, right, there's a lot of changes that is happening in the classroom in terms of dynamics, in terms of how teachers and students, they have this relation. Not only that, but how much of a cooperation is being done in the class, right? And not only that, but what are the tools that is required for a teacher to teach effectively in the classroom. So these are all the things that we work on, right? So those tools can be, maybe some exercises in the class, or maybe some online mechanism that we have, like
Mhm.
lot of these things are dealt with very specifically by the experts who
Mhm.
are already having an experience in the international teaching for many years. Yes.
Okay, yeah, thank you. That sounds extremely thorough. That's wonderful. And a couple of things that occurred to me as you were describing that is a level of English. Because if a teacher is coming from Saudi Arabia or Singapore or India, I imagine that they will have a certain level of English in order to, teach their subject in English in the United States.
Well, see, the thing is, there is a standard that we have already, set in terms of what we take in as students, right? So definitely, English credential is something that we have checked, early on, and not only that, but to further enhance it, we have a separate section which trains them in English
Okay,
so that the standards of the American classroom is met, right?
okay.
However, as you know, right, even in India or even in Saudi Arabia or even in the Philippines, right, English is widely spoken,
Yeah.
because English is not a language that is just spoken in an island in England. It's an international language, right? So definitely, I mean, if anybody superintendent is skeptical whether they will be having a person who is having a certain level of refinement in the language, they can have an interview early on, right? So it's not that we are just providing you a CV of the candidate.
Hmm.
No, we are also providing you the credentials. Not only that, but also opportunity to speak with the candidates.
Hmm.
So that is the kind of service that we are providing. Yes. So credentials and credibility is established early on, right? First of all, from our organizational standpoint,
Hmm.
and the second of all, from the individual standpoint, where you speak with the candidate directly. So yes, that
Perfect.
is the open, opportunity that we provide. Yes.
Yeah, that's great to actually be able to meet the candidate ahead of time. I'm assuming it would be on a Zoom call or a Teams meeting, where you could actually see the candidate and have a conversation similarly to how we are talking now.
Well, it depends if the candidate is of the US and if the candidate is, someone local from that end. So yes, definitely, you can have a physical interview. But other than that, if you want to hire someone from India and you really like the profile, you really like the CV, you really like uh, what are the credentials that is there, fits your standard, and then you have an interview in the Zoom meet, and then after that the person flies to your country as well. Like, I mean, if once get selected, once you get the offer letter and everything,
Yeah.
the visa process is definitely taken care by us. And once the teacher lands into the United States or into the school district, then after that, it's not that we leave the teacher on their own. Definitely not, right? So once they have been guided upon your institution, right,
Mhm.
and if you feel that this is a candidate that you really thought would be a great fit, but ultimately as the weeks pass, as the months pass, then you realize that, okay, fine, something might has to be done over here.
Mhm.
Then probably we can have an intervention as well. We do intervene as well. So we have two options for you at that time. One is either we give you a replacement of that particular teacher. That is the second priority. But the first priority is, first of all, to understand whether you want the replacement or not. If you won't want the replacement, and if you want that teacher to continue, then we intervene and we give them a retraining, and then after that, uh, the person can again come to your institute, start the normal classes. So those are an extensive procedure that we do follow, and
Okay.
like that we do take care of. Because see, the stakeholders are not only our students, right? But they are also our superintendents, also our principals, those who we want to work for a very long time, right?
Yeah.
So that is the reason why we are trying to give our best in terms of our service.
Hmm. That's
And it's very
great.
evident with the kind of superintendents that are working with us right now,
Mhm.
in the US itself. Yes.
Great. And I want to ask you about that in just a moment. But one other thing that occurred to me, because I was in charge of this when I was an elementary teacher and brought international teachers to our school, I was in charge of finding their host family. And that's a lot of work to find a host family. Who's in charge of their living situation? Do they usually live with a local family or do they live in an apartment? How does that work? And who
Well,
helped arrange that?
yes, yes, yes. We do help arrange that, of course, okay? But usually they don't have an arrangement where they stay with a family. Usually our teachers, whenever they go, they have a separate space to stay, like, I mean, for themselves. Whatever their preferences are. Like, say, suppose if somebody already has a relative there in the US, then of course they would, prefer to stay with their relatives, and that's another thing. Otherwise, they would take their own space, take their own apartment, and then that's the things that we have seen over the years. Not an arrangement where a host family is hosting them. So far, that has not been the case with any of our teachers who have gone to the US. Yes,
They stay in an apartment. Yeah.
yes.
And do you help at all find those apartments, or are they in charge of finding their living situation? Or does the
Well,
school help with that?
see, the school definitely helps with that. However, we do assist them with that as well. They are not left on their own, as
Okay.
like, I mean, as many have said as well, that uh, the thing that they really appreciate about Suraasa is that they never leave a candidate alone on their own,
Yeah.
because we try to assist them with as much as we can. Not only that, but the intervention is timely, done on a timely basis as well, because and evaluative measures are taken care by
Okay.
our counselors there in the United States. Yes.
Mhm. That's wonderful. And then how long, for example, let's say we did bring over a teacher from Saudi Arabia to teach history, or how long would that a contract be? Is it one academic year and then we revisit and it would be a second, or would it automatically be 3 years? Like, how does the timing work? And do they go
Well,
back to their country in the summer?
well, it's 5 years, 5 years of contractual period, 5 years. However, like, I mean, if there is a vacation in the summers, they definitely do go back to their country,
Mhm.
and that is the thing. Like, I mean, but of course, there is definitely an adjustment in the institute's part as well, because see, the open window is always there. The open window is there for adjustment, right?
Okay.
Now, if there are, like, I mean, if there is a clause that says that you might not be able to go to a country or to your country every year, then possibly, that we have to adhere to. The candidate has to adhere to it. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, and if the candidate worked out and were an amazing employee in addition to my staff, for example, that would be a peace of mind that we would know we would have that same high quality for 5 consecutive years. Because you know as well as I do, turnover it's so time consuming. It's very costly, and it would be a blessing to have a candidate on a consistent basis. I feel if it worked out. So that's good to know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Can you tell us of a success story that you have experienced or heard of through Suraasa, where an international teacher that was trained through Suraasa has been placed in the United States? And maybe you want to just mention the state if you know the name of the state and just a success story.
Yes. So we have teachers placed in Jefferson Elementary School, and
Oh,
yes, and also many of the teachers are definitely there who are awarded as like, I mean, as a Teacher of the Year award as well. So yes,
wow.
we have such candidates as well, and the testimonials, however, I would recommend you to see. It's even there in the YouTube, and it's even there in our website as well. Like one candidate, Ritu Raj, she is an exceptional, candidate of ours, and she has also, like, I mean, really done well for herself, and really kept a good name as well. And yes, there are ample amount of such candidates as well, because see, the thing is, everyone undergoes to the same training, right? Of course, it depends on how curious you are, with which you take up the course, how motivated you are, do you take up the training seriously. Then after that, what the candidates do has been marvelous. There hasn't been any such complaints where there is that complaint where the candidate is not up to the mark or not up to the standards. We have always matched up to the standards
Okay.
of international teachers, sorry, international teaching, especially in the United States as well. As I know, in the United States, it's a high standards that is required. Yes.
Fantastic. That's wonderful. And obviously, if a superintendent or a school district or even an individual school were going to work with Sarasa, there is a cost to to you helping find a qualified teacher. And not that we want to go into numbers or anything. I'm sure that would happen if somebody reached out to you. But is it a fee that is charged annually or monthly, or kind of how does that work? If you can go into just a little bit of detail on how the cost or works or payment works.
Okay. So according to the National Policy Institute, right, the details have been out, right, where to hire a teacher, right, in the United States. I'm not talking about Surasa. I'm not talking about Surasa. I'm talking about what the data is there in the news, that it's $25,000, right? That's the cost that is incurred by our institute to hire a teacher in the United States. Now, the cost is not only of hiring, but it's also about the training as well. And retention has always been a problem.
Mhm.
So that is the problem that we are trying to solve over here, where
Yeah.
of course the fees that you pay, it's annual fee, right? And of course, it's not going to be as exponential as $25,000. That's a ridiculous amount of resource. And if I have to be specific about the numbers, then it sums around $10,000. That's it.
Oh, about $10,000 to Sarasa for all the work that you do to prepare a candidate for our school for one academic year.
Yes, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. So
10,
that's the cost that you incur through us.
okay.
That's about it.
Yeah, and then it just occurred to me, of course, we have to think about the teacher. Are they paid? Do we pay them the salary? Does my school pay them the salary just like we would any other teacher? Or do we pay you and you pay them the salary?
No, of course not. Of course not. I mean, once you have selected our candidates, right? And once the candidate is there in the US soil in your school district, then it's totally up to the institutes, yes, up
Okay.
to the responsibility of the institute. They are the ones who are responsible for payment, they are the ones responsible for, many of the things that is required for them to function as a teacher, right? However, we are always there to assist them. We are always
Okay.
there, as a support system, yes.
They would be on our payroll, but we would pay you, you said maybe between 10 and 25,000 for a candidate. Or
Roughly yes, roughly yes. 10,000. 10,000 you can just
okay.
roughly say.
Or a year. Okay.
Approximate amount, yes.
Okay. That was helpful. Yeah, I'm sure that would be going through anybody's mind who may be interested in working with Suraasa. And again, as a school leader, I think that I would jump on that because it can be so challenging again to find qualified teachers. And so if I were still in that position, I would probably talk to my school district and see if we could partner together because I love that diversity, bringing teachers from other countries in that our students can benefit from learning from. And then also you take care of all that training. The fact that they come to you with a master's degree, 5 years experience, that's huge. And then they go through your training. I mean, that's amazing. And you are really kind of hold their hand the whole way, even though once, like you said, they are on our soil, we take care of them. They're on our payroll and, obviously would take care of a lot of things on this end. So well, thank you so much, Evan. I really appreciate this time with you, and I learned so much. And I'm hoping that if we have superintendents or school principals or yeah, district leaders, and they're interested in your services through Suraasa, I hope they benefited from this interview. I certainly did. And how would they get in touch with you? Who would they reach out to? Is there an email address or, if somebody wanted to connect and take this to the next level?
First of all, I can be their first point of contact. We are there in the LinkedIn as well,
Yeah.
and I do put out a lot of contents as well in the LinkedIn, and you can just get in touch with me. However, you can also, check our website as well and book a meeting there as well, right?
Mhm.
But if in case, right, anybody would want to have a collaboration, that I'm always there, right? I will be able to fix up a meeting with our founder himself, and then
Okay.
from there we can take it up. Yeah, we will send you the profiles as well, and you can
Okay.
just see for yourself, and yeah, that's about it.
Okay. And on LinkedIn, I know you need somebody's first and last name. And I see that I have your first name here. Do you want to share your last name so people could find you on LinkedIn more easily?
Yes, of course. It's EVAN Evan, Basnet, 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 Basnet.
Wonderful. And then what is the website for Suraasa?
Okay. Uh, www.suraasa.com.
Oh,
Suraasa.com. Suraasa.com.
Suraasa.com. Okay.
Or
One.
you can email me as well. Or you can email me as well at Evan, EVAN dot BASNET @ surasa.com.
Okay. Okay, wonderful. And my last question that just occurred to me. So it is September right now, and most schools have already hired their staff for the 2025-2026 academic year. What if a teacher leaves their school and they have an opening? Could we start to work together in January or November or any
Of
time during the year? Could it be a partial contract, something like that? To help us get through the rest of the academic year if we have that need.
Yes, of course. We are always there to assist you with your needs, because we are always having the supplies of teachers, because
Okay.
ample amount of teachers who have been trained by us and ample amount of profiles that we have already having in the pipeline that we can give you an access to, right? So
Okay.
yeah, yes.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Evan. I've so enjoyed this time with you, and thank you for all of your wonderful information. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Isa. I really appreciate this time as well, and thank you for the invitation. And hope
Absolutely.
to work
Oh,
with you soon. All right.
Sounds good. Bye-bye.
Teresa, take care.